Me or not. We'll see if you guys can hear me. I'm not sure. So, hi, it's Katherine, and I am going to be working on some rings today. And I've got two different cameras going, but I think I'm just going to turn one off. I'm just going to use this one for now. I'm going to be working on some rings. Like I said, I've got some bezel setting that I need to do, and I'm going to be turning this ring into one that has diamonds all the way across it. And hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm not sure if you can. I think you can. Hopefully. All right. Anyway, I'm going to put my camera up so that you can see my bench pin, see how I'm going to be setting the stones, see I'm going to be drilling the seats and adding diamonds to the rings. And we'll see what happens. All right. So if you have any questions or thoughts, just let me know. I will be trying to take a look at what people are saying, if anyone has any questions, and I guess that's about it. So I'm going to put you up here now so you can see my bench pin. I think you guys can see that now. So down here is where I'm going to be working to set some diamonds. So I have a couple different rings here. These rings are going to be stacking all together as one. And these little bands are going to be going in between. So we're going to have a band over here, a band like that. Another band there. And the last one all together. So we've got a diamond over here. That is it's going to end up getting set into that bezel setting. Hi, Sandy. So that's going to end up getting set in there. That is an old mine cut diamond, and it is just about a carat, or I think it's just over a carat, actually. And then this one is a carat also. That's all of these bezels are platinum bezels, and they're either set on white gold or on yellow gold. So this one is a platinum bezel on white gold, and this one is a platinum bezel on yellow gold. And then the last diamond, I have not drilled the seat yet for it, but it's going to have, Sandy, can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm saying? Let's see if I Yay! Okay, good, because I wasn't sure. All right. So anyway, then we have the last diamond, which is, let's see here, I've got the carat weights everywhere here. Right, I've got my biggest diamond at 1.03 carat, then 1.1, and then a 0.62 carat diamond altogether. And then these little bands, so these little bands, they're going to get set with a whole bunch of, let's see here, I've got some 1.4 millimeter diamonds. And let's check here. Got a whole bunch of those to go in. So that'll be fun to get all of those in there. In the meantime, so what I use is this tool, okay, and it has a ring holder on it. So it hooks into my bench pin over here, and it has a place for the ring to be put right on here, and then you can tighten up so that this doesn't rotate. So I could tighten it up so that I couldn't rotate it, and I could tighten it up in a few other different ways. But really, I just need it to not rotate. So this one would be going in here. All right, and I've already drilled that seat for it so that it fits nicely in there. Okay. But, and I think I want to make sure that my diamond is nice and clean on the underside, because this particular setting is closed to the back. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's completely enclosed. There's no hole on the underside of the ring setting. And the purpose of doing that is so that the diamond never gets dirty. Because wouldn't that be nice if your diamond never gets dirty? So all I'm gonna do, I've already cleaned these diamonds, but I did touch them with my fingers. So I am gonna make sure that the underside is still nice and clean. I mean, it looks fine, because I know I just completely cleaned these things really well. So I'm gonna stick that back in. And this is just some beeswax, just in case you guys were wondering what that is. That is some beeswax to hold the diamond in place and kind of make it easier for me to move. Okay, so next part, I've got this is my tool chest that I've been using for a really long time. Because just in case you all did not know, some of you I'm sure probably don't know, I actually started making jewelry in 1999. And so when I first went to college at Maine College of Art, I don't know why I brought this with me as my piggy bank, but I brought my piggy bank. And so then I just started keeping my chasing tools in it after I made chasing tools. So I'm going to be using a tool like this, okay? And this tool just has a nice smooth edge to it. And I'm going to be bringing that around the outside edge of my bezel over here. And I'm going to be using a chasing hammer. So it has a nice big flat area over here that I'm going to be able to hit securely down onto the edge of my bezel. To make sure that the stone doesn't move when I first start hammering down, I'm just going to add a little bit of putty to the outside edge here. And that'll just make sure that my diamond doesn't pop up as I'm starting. Make sure that this guy is down well. All right. So I'm just going to start going around this outside edge. And I'm going to slowly make my way around. got that side started pretty nicely. Just going to rotate this around and make sure that I'm still secured, because there's still plenty of metal that needs to be hammered down in place. Okay. So as I was saying, this diamond is an old European cut, and that makes it pretty old. It was faceted probably more than 100 years ago. And the faceting is relatively simple. There are fewer facets than there are today on modern round brilliant cuts. But one of the risks that you run into with older stones is that sometimes they have had little accidents, and this guy has had a little accident at some point in its life. So we made the customer aware of it, made sure she was, made sure she knew that the chip existed before we started working on it. Come on, get in there. So that is why I'm being extra careful, because I don't want to damage the chipped area anymore. Okay, so we're starting to tighten down in there. Let's see if we can. A lot of times when I get toward the end of this setting, I look at it under my microscope. Just to make sure that the bezel is down as far as it needs to go. And all the edges are covered. I don't know how much I'm going to block of your camera. Oh, goodness. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. I know that's really bright on the camera over there, but I want to make sure that we do this right. Oh, that poor little chip. That's okay. This bezel will definitely protect it. You can definitely recut. Good question, Sandy. You can recut these old diamonds. Sometimes it just depends on how the little chip is as to you know, what you can recut. You can always recut. It's just a matter of whether you're willing to lose a lot of carat weight. So, you know, this one, let's see here. The chip is, where did it go? It's over here on the side. And it's like spanning up the top, like this whole area. And if you have that refaceted, you would definitely lose a pretty good amount of carat weight on the diamond. And so the customer decided to leave the diamond as it was and just preserve the sentimentality. And like I said, setting a bezel, you're not going to be hitting the edge of that stone at all. And so you don't have to worry about it nearly as much as you would if it were in bronze. That's a good question. So we're almost there with this bezel. And the platinum is moving nicely. Now, let me tighten this guy up a bit more. All right, so the other reason why we went with a platinum bezel with this, let's see if we can get this back in focus here, maybe. We went with a platinum bezel because it keeps a nice bright white color around the diamond that you'll never have to rhodium plate, okay, which is pretty cool. And platinum, even though it is a metal that moves a decent amount, it will, what happened to the putty? The putty's over here. I took it off. I didn't have to use it. After I started tightening it up enough, the bezel holds the diamond in place. So it's not a big deal. But platinum, even though it moves relatively easily, it doesn't wear down nearly as quickly as gold does. And so using a platinum bezel like this, these rings will definitely have a very long life when it comes to them being set. So the next thing that I'm doing, I'm using this tool, which, I mean, I use this for lots of different things, but it has a very smooth edge on it. I have a few different tools that have just a smooth steel edge on them. And what I'm doing is going around the inside of my bezel to smooth it out and give it just a nice burnished, shiny, smooth feel. But I also still have to be very careful when I get to that chipped spot, that again, I don't do anything to that spot. All right, and then I can use my sanding stick. And I can go right along the edge of that bezel to remove some of the hammer marks. Which there aren't deep hammer marks because I wasn't hitting very hard. Give a nice little shape to that. All right. Now switch these out so I can do a little shaping from the side. All right. Okay, so I've got that pretty good. Now I'm going to use my wheel here. This one is just kind of a high polish wheel, but I'm going to switch this one out. One that is a tiny bit grittier. This does not hurt the diamond at all. And actually, I'm avoiding touching the diamond, but it doesn't, this does not hurt the diamond at all. So this is like, what grit is this? It's like 1,000 grit, so it's actually pretty smooth. This one, the pink one, is like a polishing wheel. And most stones can withstand, most all stones can withstand being touched by this pink wheel. Diamonds, sapphires, rubies, they're all fine with that other one. When people are thinking about engagement rings and they want to go with, say, a morganite as a pink stone, we usually try to encourage them to go with a sapphire, like a peachy pink sapphire, so that you have that durability. All right. So that guy is pretty much ready to go for the high polish finish. It's in there now. And like I said, there's no holes on the back, so it will always stay nice and sparkly and clean without having to do anything. Amazing. Kind of fun. All right, so like I said, there are many multiple rings that go in this ring stack for this customer. We've got the large one that we just set, and then we've got those multiple rings that are all going to stack together. So I figure let's try to work on one of these little bands now. So this band, there's my millimeter gauge. Got my millimeter gauge to tell me how big things are. This band is 2.3 millimeters. Okay. And the customer has a few different sizes of diamonds over here. Let's see here. I've got a 2 millimeter. I've got down to 1.5 millimeter. Okay. And so I've got smalls and I've got some larges. And so what we're going to do is, and let me see here again, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. So we're going to have 14, we're going to have 14 diamonds per band. All right. So I'm going to start off with this band, and I'm just going to start by marking it. So I'm going to just clean up the top surface of the band a tiny bit. And right now I haven't cleaned up the bottom at all from soldering it together, and I'm leaving it that way on purpose, just so that I know where the solder seam is, where I know where the solder seam is underneath, and I'm going to make sure to keep that on the bottom so that if the band ever needs to be sized again in the future, that we'll be able to find that solder joint pretty easily, and I make sure that that solder joint is not on top where the stones are going to be set in the ring. I mean, it's still soldered together with a very high temp or hard solder, but regardless of that, if you do any work on the ring later, size the ring later, you don't want it to pop open right where you have stones. So sometimes I even just mark it with some Sharpie to make sure that I know where the bottom is. The other thing that I do with marking is I put Sharpie down where I'm going to be putting gemstones so that I can scratch into the Sharpie and, you know, see where I'm marking a little bit better. I can always kind of keep track of the bottom and the top of the ring. All right, so this one, we can do the smaller stones on the band. And like I said, we've got 1.5 millimeter. So when I am doing this type of setting, which I'm going to be doing French setting, I need to evenly space my diamonds. And let's see here, I've got, let's measure this. What size are you? We're going to use this one. All right. So this is just a tool that I usually use for ring sizing, but it also it works pretty well to evenly space things. So this one, if I were using it for ring sizing, I would be removing half a size worth of material. You can see a 1/2 on there. So the amount of space that takes up is, see here, point to point is 1.8 millimeters. And that should be just about right for the distance that we want between our stones, because we want our diamonds to be able to sit directly next to each other. So I'm going to start off in the center of the ring. I'm just kind of going to look and see that, okay, right down here, I'll point with this tool right down here at the very bottom of the ring. And I know I'm kind of far away here, but let's see here. So right down at the very bottom of the ring, I've got that ring sizing. So I'm gonna come back up to the top here and just give myself a general placement for where the center is at the top. And I have an even number of stones. So I am going to start marking on either side of that, but I'm just going to start marking for my stones. So right now, I've got marks for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll go back to this other side. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Right, because we counted 28 stones, which means we've got 14 diamonds per band. So I've got this marked now, evenly spaced that direction. And then I'm going to give myself a center line on the ring. So let's see here. Drag my line across the center, turn the ring around, make sure I've got this marked correctly. There we go. Okay, so now I have a center line and I've got all of the spaces in between. So the next part that I'm going to work on is getting the little pilot holes started for the band. So I'm going to be using this little round burr. Let's see if I can get that in focus. Little teeny round burr. And this guy measures, so he's just 1 millimeter. He's a 1 millimeter round burr. And I am going to, on the center line, on every single mark across there, I'm going to add my little dot. So I'm going to make sure to use some of my burr life, which is just like a wax type of thing. Okay, I've got my 14 little holes started. There we go. And it just covers the very top half of the ring. So it goes from here to here. That's where those little holes go to. So that'll be nice because she will have half of a ring set with little diamonds. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper with those holes. Or I could use a drill bit. Let's grab a drill bit. So I've got our drill bit here. And this guy, again, we've got a 1 millimeter, actually it's just under 1 millimeter drill bit. And that one is it's pretty dull. So let's go with a tiny bit bigger one. We'll try this one. All right, try again. There we go. All right, 14 holes. All right, I'm covered. You guys get a, yeah, okay, it's just a quick one. You got to get all that stuff off. All right, so I've got my little holes, and I haven't made this too tight because I still want to be able to rotate it. It's easier when I can do all of the settings kind of at the same time. So the next part with French setting is we're going to make those holes a tiny bit bigger. We're going to make them a little bit bigger with another round burr, but this time the round burr is going to be more similarly sized to the size of the diamonds that we're putting in. So let me find the right size here. We want a 1.5 or 1.4 millimeter burr. You're too big. It's pretty close. There we go. There's the right size. So we've got our round burr again, and we're just going to go through and widen out the holes for the rest of the diamonds. Now this is the part where I make sure that everything is nice and even, and so I'm going to bring back my microscope here to make sure that I do this just right. So I want to make sure that my hole is perfectly centered left to right and that the spacing between my diamonds is as perfect as I can make it. But I'm not a machine. I am just a person. So I will do the best that I can. So I'm still going to get some of the burr life on here. And we'll start. I even that one out a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. All right, we've got our holes, and so now we've got little bits of larger holes, just a tiny bit. Okay, next step. We are going to take out the center between these diamonds. So we're going to be using, I think this should be just about right. We're going to be using this long skinny burr that will help remove between the stones. So we're just following that center line. With the end diamond. Flip this around, do this side. All right, we've got the center. Brush that out. Okay, and now we've got a center channel through there. Okay, and next we're going to use the same tool. We're going to use the same tool, but we're going to go the opposite direction. So this will cut the space between the diamonds and leave just the place where the prongs are going to be. Okay, we're going to flip the ring around and do the other side. And we'll just check to see what side view looks like. I think I want to go a little deeper down on this side. Okay. Brush this off again. All right, and you can see that we have the beginnings of prongs. From side to side. So each one of those little spaces in between that are still left up, that's going to turn into 2 prongs, so that there will be a total of 4 prongs on each diamond. And the other thing is, so on the side of the ring, that's where you can get decorative, okay, and you can add special engraving that you know, makes it a little unique on the sides there. Sometimes I just kind of add a little bit of a U shape just to make it a little different. And it's just decorative, that's all it is. So I just do that. You can see those little tick marks that I started adding. And it just gives a little something different instead of just having a straight plain band. Do the same thing to the other side. All right. So I've got all those little tick marks added. I've got all of my seats. I've got all the places where the diamonds are going to go. And the next part, we're just going to make sure that the holes are deep enough for the diamonds, because the diamonds have depth and they need to be able to sit. Okay, I also have to add a couple little cuts to the ends so that there are end prongs, because right now officially there are no end prongs. So I'm going to be using this tool that is like a little teeny wheel. I'm going to use that on the very ends to create my end prongs. Okay, 1 and 2. All right. Thanks, Jess. Okay, so I've got those. Let's clean up around here a little bit. Okay, so that just added a little place for things to end right there. So it just gave me my last prong. Okay, I'm also going to use that tool to help split the prongs in between each one of the stones. Sometimes I use a saw blade, sometimes I use this. So I just give myself a little place to start. So every single spot is now being divided in half. Okay, switch it around and do the other side. I don't know that I can actually zoom in closer because I know I wish I could. But I'll show you, I promise. Like when I read the girls a book at night. I have to flip the book around to show Hazel because she's already in bed. All right. So I have every single one of those sections now divided in half. Poor Hazel learning patience. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, she likes to be in her bed while Eleanor and Cora are next to me on Eleanor's bed. So, you know, she's got to wait. She'll be okay. All right, so next we are doing 1.5 millimeter stones. So we are going to get a little teeny heart burr. Let's see if this one's the right size. This one is the right size for the stone, but I want to get one that is slightly smaller than the stone, than the diamond, so that I can get it in there and then move it around. So I'm going to be using this burr now. Can we see it? We can see it. It is, we can kind of see it. But it is teeny tiny. It is 1.4 millimeters, and it is, there we go. There's some good viewing on it, kind of, sort of, slightly, maybe. Okay. Anyway, it is a heart burr, and we're going to drill the seats now for the diamonds. So I'm going to stick the burr into the area for it, but I'm going to move it around inside of the setting. So I'm cutting the seat and also cutting the prongs. I'm also checking to make sure that I have enough depth for the bottom of the diamond, called the Q-lip, so that when I set it, I don't break that off. I am also leaving the bottom of this ring closed so that dirt and bacteria and everything else don't get stuck between the finger and the diamonds. So, fun fact, a lot of people think that they are allergic to their rings. And what they're actually allergic to is the bacteria or the soap that their ring is holding against their finger. And they're not actually allergic to their metal at all. But they think they're allergic to their metal, but they're not. Because if they were allergic to the metal, not only would they have a problem, you know, here where the ring is sitting, but they'd have a problem on this finger and this finger where the ring is also touching. But somehow, magically, they don't. And that is because they're not allergic to the metal. They are just allergic to the dirt that their ring is holding. All right, I'm going to make sure that the center between these settings is deep enough because I don't want that to interfere with the stone setting. So I'm going to carve the edges down just a tiny bit more. I've got this little teeny tiny area that I need to get to right on those end diamonds. So I'm going to use a teeny tiny itsy bitsy burr. Even smaller. The smaller one. The smallest of the small. Smallest is not a word. I know. But I like using it. Okay. Okay. All right. We have prongs we have seats, we have decoration, we have everything ready to go. And now we just need diamonds. Lots and lots of diamonds, because they're pretty. And I don't think I'm going to set all of the diamonds in this band today, because I think, I don't know, how long have we been going for? An hour? Something like that. But I'm sure you guys want to see the finished product. If I could only speed things up so that you could see. But in the meantime, we'll at the very least get a couple of these diamonds in at the end. So there's a couple different ways to pick up diamonds. I tend to pick them up with my fingers. I pick them up with my fingers because, I don't know, there's enough oils on my fingers to be able to pick them up. But that is the size of the diamond that we're going to be setting. That is a nice little 1.5 millimeter diamond. And that's what we're going to be setting into the band. And we're going to be setting 14 of them. So I can grab them with that, but I can also grab them with a tool that it's actually a beading tool. So this is my beading tool, and I use the end of it to round out prongs. But if I dip it in a little bit of water, then I can actually get it to hold the diamond for me, which is kind of cool, because then I don't have to even touch it. And I can place the diamond in to the setting without even touching it. It's like magic. Then I use that same tool to push the diamond into place so that it is sitting where it needs to be when I push the prongs over. So I can use this same tool now to move those prongs into place over top of the diamond. Fancy schmancy, right? Yeah. So the other tool that I use, and I'm going to put a second diamond in so you can see what I'm doing. What size are you? Let's see if this is the right size. This one's a little small. We're going to average out the size of her diamonds here so that we have a nice straight band. So we get the second diamond. Push that in place. All right. So the other tool that I use, this is a tool for French setting. And it's basically like a little wedge. And so then I go to where I have put that little cut mark, and I'm going to wiggle the prongs back and forth before I use my beading tool to round it out. And this will get the prongs started at being pushed over. It gets them, 50% of the way. Just wiggle that in there. All right. And then I can, again, use my beading tool. And this is what rounds the prongs out. And it pushes down the rest of the way. So at this point, I have to make sure that my ring holder is very tight because I'm putting a lot of pressure on this. and I'll show you what I have so far. So now I have 2 diamonds, and the end diamond is completely set. The second one in has 2 prongs on it out of 4. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the band, is setting those in, and that will just take me a minute to do that. So we're going to take a minute. We're going to do that because that's what we're doing next. So got some of those diamonds ready, and we said we had 14. So we'll make sure that we have those out. Wedge. Can switch and tighten that over. So now I'll just be going back and forth. Okay, diamond, water. We'll push. And round it out. So not only does this beading tool round it out, like I said, but it pushes it over the rest of the way, makes the prong all the way down on the stone so that it doesn't catch on your sweaters or in your hair or on blankets or all those other things that have teeny tiny little strings, or pet fur when you're vigorously scratching your pet's chin and they can't get enough. You don't want to scratch them with your ring, and you don't want their fur to get stuck in your prongs because that's gross. Do a couple diamonds here. But 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Switch this around. Okay. Round and round. Okay. And where are we? Halfway there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Halfway. All right. Come on, dive into work with me. Oh, I lost it. That's okay. That's what the catch tray is for. Let's try that again. Get in there. Oh, goodness. This one's just being temperamental. That's okay. There we go. There it is. We'll just tag team these temperamental diamonds. Cool. There we go. Okay, three more. Okay. Yep. Mr. Prong over here. Got it. Back to the other side. Okay, four more. Whew, it's a workout. Thanks, Sandy. Hang on. All right, that's the last one clicked in place. Let's get them. Let's get them in. All right, so I'm going to show you guys what I have, and I will post pictures of finished product when I get everything all done. But there's your band. And so now she can layer this band right underneath this one for her set, which is pretty cool. And so she'll use those bands as little stacking diamond bands in between her solitaires. And it'll give a nice little accent between the two pieces. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in today. And I was really glad to see everybody. I'm going to take off here, but don't forget to tune in again and see what I'm working on again. That's what I was working on today. Who knows what I'll be working on next week. All right. So for now, I will say goodbye and thank you.